Every big idea, every important decision you make has this little shadow of uncertainty following it around. But what if I told you that you could actually use that uncertainty, turn it into a real strategic advantage? Well, today we're going to break down how to do just that. This is your practical guide to identifying and managing risk so you can make smarter, safer bets.
So picture this. You've got a choice to make. It could be a new project at work, maybe a business idea you've been kicking around, or even just a big personal decision. You can see the upside, you can see the potential, but there's that little voice in the back of your head asking, yeah, but what could go wrong? That's the question we're tackling today.
Okay, first things first, let's get on the same page. What even is risk? In simple terms, it's just being exposed to the chance of loss or damage. It could be your time, your money, your reputation. The point isn't to avoid risk completely. That's impossible. The real key is learning how to manage it. And that brings us to our first big idea. You know, risk isn't just for Wall Street traders or people who jump out of airplanes. It's actually a part of every single decision you make, especially when you're trying to create something new or just do things a little differently. Let's use an example to make this super clear. Imagine a travel company, and their sales are, not great. So an idea pops up. Hey, let's just offer our most popular tours more often. It sounds like a no-brainer, right? But even this simple idea is loaded with risk. What if the costs go up? What if customers get tired of it? Could it actually make things worse? See? Risk. So how do you deal with all that uncertainty? You don't just close your eyes and hope for the best. Nope. You use a system. You use a framework. And that's exactly what this is. A structured 5-step approach to take you from problem to a really smart solution. This whole framework really just breaks down into 5 key parts. First, you've got to be aware of what could go wrong. Then, you assess if the potential reward is even worth the risk. After that, you test your idea to see if it actually works. You develop a plan B. And finally, and this is a big one, you keep everyone in the loop. We're going to zoom in on a couple of these that are just absolutely vital. Okay, let's start with that assessment piece. This is the moment you have to be really honest with yourself and weigh what you stand to gain against what you stand to lose. The whole idea here is to quickly filter out those ideas where the reward is kind of small, but the risk is huge. I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster. Let's go back to our travel company. Say they have 3 options. Option A, it could pay off big time, but man, it's super risky. Option C has a pretty low reward, but still a decent amount of risk. But then you look at option B. It's got a different kind of balance, doesn't it? And when you see it laid out like this, the choice just pops. It becomes so clear. Sure, option A has that flashy high reward, but option B gives you a solid, moderate return with way, way less risk. That's the sweet spot you're looking for. It's not about finding zero risk. It's about finding the best ratio of reward to risk. And that leads us right to the golden rule of decision-making. The perfect solution, the thing you should always be searching for, is an idea that offers a high reward for a low risk. Now, is that combination easy to find? Heck no. But it should always be your target. All right, this brings us to 2 of the most critical actions in our whole framework: testing and communicating. A huge do is to try out your idea on a small scale first. So for our travel company, maybe they test a new no-frills airline on just a couple of tours, not the whole catalog. The absolute don't here is to ignore the results if they're not what you wanted to hear. Hiding bad news never, ever works. This quote just nails it. Think about it. It's the surprise of something going wrong that really shatters trust and kanks morale. It's often worse than the actual problem. When you communicate proactively, you're not just reporting facts. You're building a team of allies who can help you spot trouble before it gets out of hand. So we have a way to assess our ideas. But where do we get better, lower-risk ideas to start with? Well, one really cool modern approach is to look outside your own office and tap into the power of the crowd.
and that tool is called crowdsourcing. The idea is actually pretty simple. Instead of relying just on your internal team, you basically broadcast your problem to a huge group of people, a crowd, and you put out an open call for solutions. It's an amazing way to dig into problems and tap into a giant pool of creativity for a very low cost. The real magic of crowdsourcing is the sheer scale of it. We are not talking about a little focus group of 10 people. We're talking about the potential for thousands, maybe even millions of participants. Just think about all those collaborative websites where people from all over the world are just jumping in to share ideas. Now, of course, crowdsourcing isn't a silver bullet. It works best for businesses that already have a huge engaged crowd. A popular video website, for example, can easily tap its giant user base for all kinds of feedback and new ideas. The crowd is already there and ready to go. But on the flip side, something with a bit less glamour, let's say, like a household cleaner, it's probably not going to attract a passionate online community that's dying to solve its business problems. The crowd just isn't there. So you got to be smart about when you use this tool. Okay, so we've walked through a whole system for managing risk, and we've even looked at a cool tool for finding new solutions. Let's boil all of this down to the key things you need to remember, the stuff you can start using right away. So here's your new problem-solving toolkit, boiled down. 1, remember that risk is literally everywhere. The goal isn't to be scared of it, it's to manage it. 2, always be on the hunt for those low-risk, high-reward gems. 3, and this might be the most important, test your ideas small before you go big. And 4, know when a tool like crowdsourcing can be your best friend, but also know its limits. And that's really it. You now have a clear, powerful framework for taking uncertainty and turning it into an opportunity. The tools are officially in your hands. So the only question I have for you is, what problem are you going to solve first?